Sustainability Live. A bit of a juggle this morning because I have to turn you on. I invited you. Let me see. That's strange. Haps has a brand new system. Here we go. Here comes Bobby. Yay!
Yes, there we go.
You made it.
Yeah, I think I was in the green room and you just had to invite me on stage.
It's all brand new. Thank you, Pablo. We figured it out.
Thanks, Pablo.
The new HAP system looks really cool. I'm still trying to work everything out. I don't have any way to share photos. Is that right? It's not really accessible yet. I have all these great photos of Bobby that I wanted to show. Not yet. Coming soon. Okay. So we'll just have to talk about the photos. So
We'll describe them very well.
Yeah, describe them. So talking a little bit about your crowdfunding and your background and what do you do as a TV personality when you have a bad hair day, that kind of stuff without pictures.
Yeah. Did you find some bad hair day pictures of me on TV? Well, I'm sure they're out there.
You are very honest on Twitter. You're like super honest. And you showed your recent picture where you're showing a bit of wrinkles because you just had a birthday, right?
Yeah, I just turned 38, and I did actually an event for this crowdfunding. We did a tasting event where I cooked for a bunch of people out in the town that we're moving to, and it was just one of those pictures of yourself that you look at and you go, "My God, what happened to me?" And I get like all these laugh lines and smile lines around here. It's very much from my parents, but I saw this picture and I went, "Oh my God, I've aged so much." And I showed the picture to my wife, and she said, "No, you look fine. You look fine." And then I just zoomed it in on the face, and she went, "You should use moisturizer."
Having a good skincare routine as a man, especially if you're going to be on media, you got to do it. Do you have any tips for other men how to keep your skin nice and moisturized? Oh, you're frozen. Hey, Chris.
I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
I heard something about tips for other men.
Part of your image too, right, is keeping fit and being on a cooking show, but not showing that you like eating too much. Must be a tricky balance, right?
Yeah, so I had as a Japanese TV personality, I've been working in the entertainment industry in Japan, locally and a little bit nationally for about 12, 13 years now. And my longest running job was as a TV chef. I had a segment called Bobby's Kitchen where we would go to a local farm or a local, tofu producing factory or a pickles factory and see what they made. And then I would use that in a recipe on the spot. And when I first moved to Japan, even from back in my time in Florida, in America, I was never super fit. But when you move to Japan, you get that gaikokujin filter applied to you, where people look at you and they assume that you're better than you are, or more handsome than you are, or all of those things that we experience living here. And when I started working for TV, I found this phenomenon where, because I'm very tall, and I have what they call a small face. My features are concentrated in a way that the Japanese find aesthetically appealing. They would look at that and they would assume that I had a nice body. And then when we went to do like an onsen shoot or a hot spring shoot or something like that, you still there, JJ?
Yeah. Can you see me? Because you were frozen for a little while.
Oh, okay. Whenever we
Go ahead. You're better now.
Let me try something real quick. Okay. I'm just going to switch my networks to see if that improves. But in the meantime, I was saying whenever I would do anything where I had to take my shirt off, the response from the Japanese crew would be like, not quite what we were expecting. And I was never like big enough for it to become like a character trait. Like I always had a healthy layer of fat. It's what the Japanese would describe as like puyo puyo, which is a little bit chubby. But they were expecting ripped, and they got chubby. And it wasn't quite chubby enough where they could like make a joke out of it. And so they didn't know how to handle it. So after a couple of years of that, I got a job as an actor working for a movie where I had to play a soldier, and they asked me to bulk up for that. And I kind of took that as an opportunity to create a body that kind of matched Japanese people's expectations about me. And so then I got really into fitness and exercising. And now post COVID, that's all gone again.
Oh, what? No, you did. I was watching one of the pictures I wanted to show was you did this cycle, a bunch of cycle videos. You were in Hiroshima doing a cycle tour, finding some
Yeah,
local
yeah.
Hiroshima vegetables and going over the bridges and stuff. And then you did a really cool cycling trip in Miyakojima as well on the southern islands. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah, it
find
was
ways
a
to
lot
keep
of fun.
fit
We did some
and
homestays. We did, yeah,
keep your job, right? On media. Having that together
yeah,
is
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, I find a way to make it work.
And you're
Yeah.
also a very active
I'm gonna
dad.
try to
You've
switch my
got
network real quick.
okay, okay. Yeah, it looks like the freezing is still happening. Oh, good icon. I like the icon. Maybe he's coming back.
Problems on
Are
my
you
end.
coming back? Oh, that
Yes, I'm
seems a
here.
bit better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool, cool.
Okay. Yeah. Looks like a better feed now. Is that a different Wi-Fi maybe?
It's my phone data.
Ah, okay. You got to do what works, right?
Yeah.
So I think we talked a little bit about your background when we did the Instagram live just before this.
Hmm.
Just give us a little bit of background. So you started in the island of Kyushu in the southern island in Saga as a jet, as a ALT,
That's
right?
right. Yeah, I came over on the JET program as an ALT in 2006. I taught in very rural Saga Prefecture for a couple of years, and then I moved to Tosu City in Saga Prefecture for another year. And during my fourth contract, my fourth year, I started working for Saga TV as a semi-regular TV reporter or presenter. And as that started to get busier, and as I started to get more opportunities for other channels or acting opportunities or things like that, I moved out of teaching and started focusing on entertainment work full time. So now I've been doing entertainment for about 13 years. I've done everything from bridal modeling to dressing up as Santa Claus to having my own dedicated segments on 4 or 5 different channels. I've done national work for Sekai Fushigi Hakken.
You
The
were
cycling is all
driving
for
a
NHK World.
train recently.
Yeah, that's for Kyushu Asahi Hoso. It's KBC, and I do a segment for them where every week I kind of go to one of the shichoson, one of the local municipalities in Fukuoka Prefecture, and do some sort of experience, try something out. And this one out in there's actually a place called Kaneda Eki in Fukuoka, and they have this experience where you can drive a train. And they actually, I think anybody from like 9 years old and up, if you make a reservation, you can go in and they give you the coat, they give you the gloves and the hat, and they
So
let you actually operate the train.
were you really driving the train? Because it looked like you were.
Oh, absolutely. I was actually driving the train. I was driving it for all of like 80 meters in the train yard in the back that's not connected to anything. But they do. They let you start it up, they let you break it and run it
That's
back and forth.
awesome. For anybody who's missed this, go to Bobby's Twitter feed and you can
Yeah.
see the video of it. It's like a 10 or 20-second video, and you're doing
Yeah.
all the right gestures that the train
Yep.
conductor does.
Yeah.
You do a little announcement,
Yeah.
right?
まもなく列車が発車いたします。出発進行 Yeah, all that stuff.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
And anybody can do that if they visit
If they
Canada.
make a reservation, yeah. There's a height requirement because you have to be able to see out of the out of the window. But there's a huge culture of train fanaticism in Japan. They call it densha otaku or not densha otaku,
Well, we have that
tetsudo
all over the
otaku. Yeah.
world, right? Train
Yeah,
spotting.
yeah. Yeah.
But I'm always surprised. Like I'm a big fan of Hiroshima's retro streetcars too, right? And
Yeah, they're very
I'll
cool.
be standing at like a cool intersection taking pictures, and I'm not the only one. Like I'm
Hmm.
surrounded by people who are train spotting all over the place, you know?
Yeah, people will travel from all over. I mean, it's a tourism industry as well.
So you've got Canada, where
Hmm.
in Fukuoka, where you were doing the train, and in Saga, there's a place, isn't it, called America, USA, USA.
Oh, Usa is not in Saga. Usa
Oh,
is
it's not Saga.
in is it in Miyazaki? I think Usa is in no Usa is in Oita.
Okay, that's where I was. So
Yeah, yeah.
my jet experience was in Oita, and your jet experience, how you ended up in Saga, is very similar to mine.
Hmm.
So I basically in the interview I said I'm happy to go anywhere in Japan where I can learn
Yeah,
Japanese. And they're
yeah.
like, okay, how about Oita then? I was like, oh great, you know. And it sounds like that was for you as well.
Did you know what Oita was when you took the job? Had you
Well,
ever heard of
actually,
Oita?
my parents had split up when I was in high school. My dad married a Japanese woman and had settled in Oita. So I
Oh wow.
mentioned Oita as, oh, I'd be happy to be there. And they're
Yeah,
like, you would? Okay, yes. Yes,
yeah.
please.
I had no idea what Saga was. I just was happy to have the job, and when I got the notification, I immediately started Googling. And back, this was in 2006. There was not a lot of English language information on Saga available online, and I think the closest I could get was I found a bunch about Kyushu, and it was like Kyushu is a island with active volcanoes, which is not Saga at all.
And Kyushu is massive and so
Yeah,
diverse. That's
yeah, yeah,
crazy that that's the only information.
yeah.
That's only in Kagoshima too, right? Volcanoes. Or no, I guess
Kagoshima.
Aso has volcanoes too, right?
Also in Kumamoto does recently.
But
Aso-san
it's
erupted
dormant,
recently.
right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So your barbecue business that you're trying to
Yes.
start is also in Saga, where you first started working and
Yeah.
where you've been doing a lot of TV shows. So
Hmm.
is it kind of building on that audience, the Japanese audience that already knows you as someone
Yeah.
who's really into cooking? And then you got the idea to buy this old place and do a remodel. Is that right?
So wanting to open up a restaurant has been a dream for a long, long time. Even I've always been very into cooking and very into serving people food, and kind of playing and experimenting with food and designing my own recipes. So even before I started doing TV work, it was always kind of like a goal that maybe someday I could have this dream where I could open up a restaurant in Japan. And then having done that cooking corner in Saga for so long, when we started thinking about what we could actually do, where would be the best place to do it, um, I'm known in Fukuoka as well, but not so much for cooking as I am in Saga. And so we started looking for properties in Saga, and we actually found this amazing location right, very, very close to the spot where my wife and I first met 13 years ago, which again is kind of like it's got a feel of destiny to it. There's this town out in Karatsu called Nanayama, which is for a foreigner, it's one of the easiest to read place names in the world because it's just seven mountains. Just
Oh, that's easy.
very, very, yeah.
Nanayama.
Um, at Nanayama, and they do an event every year called the Waterfall Climb. I think they call it the International Shower Climb, and they've got this huge river system with all of these smaller waterfalls. And every year they have this international exchange event where they invite about 1,500 people to come get in the river. And you put on a vest, you put on a helmet, you get a rope, and you make a human chain, and you just climb up the rapids basically. And there are places where you can actually climb smaller scale waterfalls or jump out of a tree into the river. And they do this with 1,500 people. And of those 1,500, 250 or so, they set that space aside to invite non-Japanese people. So people come from the military bases, people come from Korea, all the jets go, and it's this huge international exchange event every year. And the first year I ever went and participated, they have the opening ceremony, and I just so happened to line up a little bit close to my wife in the opening ceremony, and we noticed each other, and that was how we first met. And so now,
Is she from Saga?
she's from Karatsu, which is she's
Okay.
from that area, but in a slightly different part of that area. So this will be a move back a little bit closer to her family as well.
Right, which is
Yeah.
nice because you have
Yeah.
kids and getting the grandparents and
Yeah.
extended
Yeah.
family involved, right?
Well, we're not that far from them now. We're about an hour away from them now, and we'll be about 40 minutes away from them in the future. So this isn't a really far move. Um, but it will be really nice. And the father-in-law in particular is like chomping at the bit to get out and start helping with the renovations and things like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because it is a lot of work. It looks like
Yeah.
you've got an old IKEA, like an abandoned house, and
Yeah.
then some open land.
Yeah.
Tell us about your plans a little bit.
So it's not entirely an Akia yet. It's a big old country house that is actually it's a 12 bedroom, and it was
Oh my
occupied
God.
by three generations. So it's the Japanese style where, they have a family home and they live in the family home. And then when the eldest son, gets married and wants to start his life, they kind of build on an addition and they have a house split into two sides, but they keep the generations together. So it was used like that, which is why there's a slightly older part and then an addition, and which is why it has so many rooms. But currently, it's just one older woman who lives in it by herself, and she's looking to get out. Um, so this spot is this huge house that's kind of an L shape, and then it's a lot of land that overlooks that river. And across the river is a big park, and the river's set up so there's like stone bridges. You can cross it. You can. It's a real shallow area, so every summer families come out and they put up a tent in the park, and their kids play in the river. And there's a vegetable stand and a farmer's market just right around the corner. You could walk up the street, and there's an onsen. And right in the middle of all of this stuff, she has this property that she's getting rid of, and there's a big outside space as well, as you mentioned. So we've bought the property, and we're going to take one leg of the L and kind of turn that into our residence. And that we're all doing independently with our own funds and our own money. And that leftover L, and that outdoor space that overlooks the river, we're going to turn that into an industrial kitchen and a little bit of like counter seating and inside restaurant seating, and a shop to produce spices and sauces that you could use for a barbecue. And then the outside space, we're going to build a big deck area and set up 5 or 6 barbecue stations, where people can come out. And currently, you're not allowed to barbecue in that park. So if somebody wants to come and spend the day, they could rent a little barbecue space and cook out, and their kids can go down the stairs and play in the river and make a day out of it. And
That's a great idea. We
yeah.
don't really have that in Japan yet so much.
Mhm.
Like I grew up in Hawaii, and we at every beach that you go to,
Mhm.
and I know in Australia is like this too. You've got barbecue areas that you can rent out,
Yeah.
or you can use for free, right?
Mhm.
So that's a great idea as a way to get people to come out and enjoy the rural area because a
Very,
lot
very
of
much
these
so.
rural
Yeah.
areas around Japan are becoming like ghost towns, right?
Mhm. Yeah, this area itself, Nanayama, there's a very active younger population, but not a very large one. So like anywhere else in Japan, the bulk of the population is aging, and so now they're kind of looking for the younger generation. They're hoping to bring more people in, and they're also looking for the younger generation to take on more active roles in building the community and keeping the community clean. Um, there's a group of people called the Nanayama Mura Okoshi, which is kind of the village revitalization or economic revitalization organization. But I've already joined them and done some activities with them. They go out and they do like a river clean, where they bring out their big weed whackers and go out and kind of maintain the river so everybody can continue to enjoy it. So
Nice. Do
there's
they pick up any
really.
plastic as well? Of
Oh
course.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the good thing about these areas out in kind of rural Japan that still have a small sized town population is that they're already kind of responsible for keeping their own areas clean. So any of the garbage and kind of things that you do see out tend to be from tourists who come through, or people who come through on motorcycles for when they're out touring. And this town is really good about keeping up with that, and also doing all sorts of other projects to beautify the town. The roads that run through the town, they have a group that goes out and installs flower boxes all along the fence and the guideposts that line the road. So it's
Nice.
just a gorgeous area.
Yeah. It sounds like a great area, and you're planning to do your own spice blends
Mhm.
to rent out the barbecues, but you're also talking about accommodation on the crowdfunding. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. So there's enough space in that leg of the L of the building that we're not going to use as our residence, that we can have the shop and also have about a studio sized apartment with its own kitchenette, with its own bathroom and bathtub as well. So what we'd like to do short term is be able to kind of offer that as a space for somebody who comes out and uses the barbecue and wants to, spend the night and spend some time in the town. As you know, the longer you get them to stay in the town, the more benefit you get for the local economy.
Definitely. And there's actually the same amount of damage. Like they know if somebody stays in a hotel or any kind of accommodation for one night versus 3 nights, the amount of damage and energy they use is about the same. Isn't that
Oh,
crazy?
really? Yeah.
Yeah. So
The
it's
amount
much
of
better.
damage?
Well, in terms of how much energy and water and
Ah, okay, okay.
how much cleaning has
I
to
thought
be
you meant the amount
done.
of damage they do to the room.
No, I think it's sorry, in terms of sustainability.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like, if you just stay one night, the cleaners have to come in and use the same amount of cleaning
yeah,
and
yeah,
towels and everything as if they stay 3 nights is
yeah,
about the same. It doesn't
yeah.
really change. Plus, they have more chances to spend money in the local
Mhm.
area, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's so that's kind of the short term plan. The long term plan is to be able to use that for longer stays. So I'm talking to the local community about an international exchange program where they already do that international waterfall climb every year. So what if you kind of set aside some funds to hire someone from abroad to come for that period? I mean, it's not just the day of the event. They do all this, advertising leading up to it. They do all this preparation leading up to it. They have to, prepare the river. They have to prepare all the vests. It's kind of months of planning,
Yeah.
and it's kind of the culmination of their summer. So if we could get, the space or the funds to hire somebody to come to Japan and live in the town for that summer and be kind of like their resident foreigner from abroad for the year, to be a participant and help them set up that event, it'd be a great opportunity, again, for the local economy, again, for kind of getting their name out there on the international map, and for cultural exchange for the local town as well.
Yeah, definitely. Great idea. I've
Yeah.
heard some rural areas they use woofers. Have you ever heard of woof?
Yeah, yeah, the farming stays, right?
Yeah, organic farming network around the world,
Yeah,
and some cafes in rural areas will use this network to hire staff. But I think there's
yeah,
certain regulations and stuff connected to that. But that's a great idea. Just doing it like a
yeah,
direct hire and getting someone to stay for a
yeah,
month or so.
yeah, yeah,
Give them free accommodation and free
yeah,
food, and they'd work for you
yeah.
or help you with projects, but also
Yeah, well, they
give that
work for the town. Yeah,
nice atmosphere of internationalism, right?
yeah, yeah. They could go to the local school. They could do all sorts of exchange stuff.
Like kind of like a jet, like we did, right?
Yeah, yeah, like a jet for the summer.
Like a jet, short-term jet for the
Yeah,
summer. Yeah. Didn't they have like jet teachers who were just teaching sports and stuff? Like they've really changed it
they
since I was.
did. Well, they had us. I think. Yeah, they did. They did have like a sports specific jet position.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. So we've talked a little bit about your NHK stuff.
Mhm.
Are you planning to do like any TV shows and stuff once you open your place, or are you going to build a comedy stage, have like stand up night, or are
Yeah.
you going to collaborate with Sakamichi Brewery and have your own craft beer section, or what other collaborations can you
I,
foresee?
so I foresee a lot of the local TV stations that I've worked for up until now, and even maybe some national places, wanting to come and do a story. The ultimate goal is, especially as I get older and as the world gets less and less stable, you kind of never know how long a talent career is going to last. So, so I'd like to have kind of another line of income or another thing that I can turn to support my family as our family grows. Um, But I think a lot of TV stations in the area would be interested in coming and seeing what we're doing. I think if we are going to invite someone from overseas, or if we are going to get involved with the local community, or if we are going to kind of do DIY and redo the restaurant all on our own, there are opportunities for a TV project there where somebody might want to come and, or the town itself has talked about the idea of sponsoring a project based on Iju, which is domestic immigration, which is moving from one town to another. So, for example, if we did a show about us moving to Karatsu and reforming this old house and creating this fun environment, the city of Karatsu might want to film that and then put it on TV in Fukuoka or in another nearby city to encourage people to come, get them excited about the area. So that's a possible collaboration. I absolutely would like to talk to Sakamichi Brewing about what to do about stocking our beer. Yeah, that's very, very high up on my list.
That's going to be a big pull, I think.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of success with Rise and Win. Have you heard of Rise and Win? They're in Kamikatsu, the zero waste town. But they have been able to pull a lot of people coming from Osaka and other areas of Shikoku and really far away over the bridges just to come and enjoy their barbecue and craft beer. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
been a really big like pull and
Yeah.
attraction to bring people out to the countryside. They now have a second brewery. So I think there's a lot of models around Japan you could
Yeah.
definitely get ideas from, but I think connecting it with Sakamichi Brewery would be awesome.
Yeah.
And then they're also really into cycling, so maybe they could, set up
Yeah.
cycling and craft beer tours around your area.
Yeah, it's a great area for it. The stand-up comedy stage, I do have that as a pipe dream, but honestly, in that part of Japan, there's no audience for it. You know?
Because you did stand-up comedy in Japanese as well in Fukuoka, didn't you?
I've done stand-up comedy in Japanese all around,
Right?
with mixed levels of success. But I think I'm kind of looking forward to the barbecue business as a chance to kind of step away from. I've gotten to the point, especially through TV, where if I run into somebody who knows me from TV on the street, they'll go, "Say something funny, say a joke."
The pressure, so
Yeah,
much pressure.
yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Well, let's talk.
Yeah.
I think we talked a little bit on Instagram Live about the spices. Let's talk a little
Yes.
bit more
Yeah.
about that.
Actually,
Where do
I
you?
have one right here.
Yeah,
This
tell
is
us about them.
this is jerk spice. So this is the spice that you would use for jerk chicken, or you could use it in a Jamaican style curry, or you could use it for jerk fish. Goes well with shrimp. I tried it the other day, just shaking it into a pan with vegetables and cooking it up. It's really, really good. It works as furikake as well. But I have
That
a
sounds
whole
good.
lot of spice blends that in doing my recipes over the years, I've kind of nailed down my proportions, my blends. Like I do a really good chili, and so if you just have that kind of spice blend for chili, you get your vegetables together, you throw it in a pot, you throw in the seasoning, and you're done. You do the same for tacos. I can do the same for a roast, some sort of roast meal. Can you hold on just 1 second? I
Do
got
you need to
the
answer the
doorbell.
phone?
Yeah,
Answer the door. Yeah.
I'll be
Go
right
ahead.
back.
Go ahead. So I'll talk to the Haps crew. Is
Hi.
anybody still watching us on Haps right now? I don't even know if this is working still. This is such a new system. Usually we have loads of people watching and commenting. I don't see anybody on. Are you guys still there? Hello? Anybody watching us? Is this being recorded so I can share it on other streams later? I have no idea. Maybe just me and Bobby are talking now. Let me check if it's going out to my Twitter. Bobby, I don't even know if anybody's online. I can't see anybody else watching anymore.
Huh.
I don't even know if it's recording. I don't know
Is
what's
there is there a way to
usually,
check it from your?
yeah, on the old system, I would be able to see how many people are watching,
Mhm.
but I can't see any indication that it's going out. Let me check my
I
Inbound
was just going to go to
ambassador
your
page.
Facebook.
Yeah, let me check Facebook. Oh, it said, oh, yep. It looks like it's on live on Facebook, but nobody's watching.
Maybe it doesn't notify.
I don't, I don't know. It's all brand new. Anyway,
Eh.
let's continue and
Yes.
just hope it's being recorded somewhere. We can share it later
Yeah.
if people missed it, right?
Yeah.
So talking about the spices, and I'm
Yeah.
so happy, like I mentioned on Instagram, I'm so happy to see that your packaging is
Mhm.
glass and metal, which is much
Yes.
easier and
Yeah.
possible to recycle in Japan because it has
Mhm.
value in
Yeah.
the recycle system. Plastic does not.
Just gets
Plastic
burned.
is usually burnt in Japan.
Yeah.
So it's so great. And to me, as a consumer, I immediately think of a product in glass and metal as higher value, higher
Yeah.
quality
Yeah.
from my user perspective. So
Mhm.
that was great. Tell us about why you guys chose that.
So we're doing spices and sauces as well. We're doing like American style barbecue sauce with a tomato base and kind of brown sugar, apple vinegar. We're doing a honey mustard. We're doing a couple of different things. And when we were researching the packaging, of course, the way it looks and the quality is a big issue, but also the cost is a big issue. And by and far, for a sauce in Japan, if you think about shipping, if you think about actually doing the packaging, getting the sauce into it, and the equipment that you need for that, the cheapest way you can go is these little, what they call them, kind of, they call them shinkro in Japanese, but I think they're like shrink wrap kind of packages where they're little plastic sleeves that you pump them in, you can vacuum seal them, and then they have a little plastic screw on cap.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
hate that.
very cheap, but it's like, it's, you would be using so much plastic.
And it immediately just looks so cheap too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like you just don't like the look of it. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe people don't care. Is it in a is it called retort? I just learned this word
I
this
saw you
morning.
learn this word, retort. Retort is more of kind of like the like aluminum foil looking metallic packages inside,
Okay, yeah,
like
I was
like
so
MREs.
confused. I was
Yeah,
like, what the heck is retort? And
yeah,
then the staff were like, that's an English word. And I was like, I'm pretty
yeah,
sure it's not used this
yeah,
way,
yeah. Uh, yeah, I'd never come across it before Japan, but that's like the instant curry that you get in the little metallic looking packages that you can put in a boiling pot of water or something. That's all
Right,
called
right. Yeah.
retorto in
I
Japan.
think people on Twitter were very
Let me,
helpful. Thank you very
yeah,
much. And
let me see. I
telling
think
me,
actually I have one. Hold on.
okay, like easy to use. You can use it quickly, like ready to eat, maybe.
So this is the kind of package that we were looking at. This is somebody
Okay.
else's barbecue sauce, a Japanese style yakiniku no tare, and it's you can see it's just a plastic sleeve. And these are very common because they're easy to freeze, they're easy to ship. Shipping costs go way down, but we're actually like you said, they don't look good. They look cheap, and also they produce this incredible amount of waste that's just awful. So one of the things that we're going to be doing, since not only are we selling online, but we're going to be selling locally as well, is we're going to use. This is our, what size is this? This is like holds about 90 grams of spice, and then we've got a barbecue sauce one that holds about 370 milliliters of sauce. So it's a bigger, not quite like spaghetti sauce size, but about maybe 2/3 of that. Since we're going to be selling on site as well, we're going to provide the option for people to bring the jars back and get a rebate, or also bring the jars back and refill them, or
Awesome.
even better, bring in their own jars, bring in their own containers and sell by weight. So, if,
That's
if
awesome.
our if our set barbecue sauce volume is 300 milliliters, bring in your own thing. We'll spoon it into your thing and take it home.
That's awesome. And that's
Yeah,
that's in use at zero waste shops in Japan or
yeah,
around the
yeah,
world.
yeah,
Um, Kamikatsu, like I mentioned, is the zero waste town. So they're a Rise and Win brewery and barbecue place. They
yeah,
do that, and
yeah.
you can bring your own container and fill up on beer too.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Bring your own
So
growler.
bring your own growler. Yeah, bring
Yeah,
your
yeah,
own bottle for spices or foods or snacks, and then
yeah.
bring your own growler for beer.
Well,
But I think that's the
Sakamichi, we
future,
talked to,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
we talked to Sakamichi about this, and it's not just good for the environment; it's good for the business as well because it provides an opportunity for an extra sale if you start selling the packaging. If you
yeah,
sell that growler, if you sell that, this is your barbecue plate. You buy the barbecue plate every time you come in and use this plate, you get 50 cents off or $1 off or whatever.
absolutely. Especially because the container that you buy is
Yeah,
going to be a higher quality container that keeps it in better condition. Like the
yeah,
reusable growlers, they keep the beer in better condition longer than if you buy it in a can, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's the way forward. I talked to a guy from TerraCycle.
Mhm.
He's trying to get TerraCycle Loop started in Japan with reusable container systems
Yeah.
through the Eon Mall chain. So
Oh,
that
yeah,
could
yeah.
be a real game changer for Japan.
Yeah, because Japan, their supermarkets do so much sales of what they call sozai, which is prepared, ready to eat stuff, and they prepare them in these plastic packages, these little either styrofoam tray or a plastic tray that's got plastic wrap. It's got a plastic lid and then plastic wrap over the top. So if you could follow like some of the European models I've seen, where they let people bring in their own glass Tupperware, their own little glass sealable packages, and do it hakari, sell it by weight. It's just so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I got really excited about on Instagram earlier, you were talking about the Ninja Burger and maybe
Oh, yeah, yeah,
using local Saga seaweed in a
yeah,
burger,
yeah.
which sounds so great.
Well, Saga has all sorts of great agricultural products. Seaweed is a big one. Citrus fruits are another one. Citrus fruits can be used in a lot of ways in sauces and seasonings. I met somebody who produces what she calls golden limes, which are a brand of lime that turns yellow when it ripens. And
Right.
she like uses every part of the lime. She uses the juice in, I think, cosmetics.
Is that yuzu in Japanese?
No, it's
No.
a lime. It's a lime.
Lime.
A yuzu is a very different flavor from a lime. It's a
Yeah,
Japanese
yeah.
citrus fruit. But she's actually got a yellow lime, and she uses the zest. She dries the zest and uses it in like a lime salt.
Oh,
Um, but Saga
that
has
sounds
so
good.
much to work with.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
lemonade, if I go to any coastal area now around Japan, a lot of places are selling lemonade, which is really
Yeah.
popular. Really easy to do because you've got all this local great water and local citrus, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Halfway there.
And tea as well. All sorts of Saga
Yeah,
has a couple of really good tea producing regions. So
nice. Oh, you've
yeah.
got so much to work with. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So if people want to support your crowdfunding, they have to be
Yes.
in Japan.
So
But if
there's
they're not
yeah.
in Japan, they can contact you directly. Is that right?
There's two options. There's the crowdfunding site, which is on Campfire, and if you were to go there and search Bobby Judo or Bobby's Blends, you would
Do
find
you
it.
have the link? Because you can put it in the chat right
I
now.
do. Let me throw that in the chat right here.
Yeah, and then I'll put it
Yeah,
underneath. Awesome. I'll put it underneath
and
after on different channels.
yeah, and you can see a lot of people have given so far. Super, super, super grateful. What I would kind of expected, what I expected, and what I would love to see is if anybody likes the idea, or if anybody likes anything about this and wants to support it, if they could give just a little bit. I expected to see a lot of small donations. And we haven't seen very many small donations at all. What we have seen is a handful of people donating in like the $1,000 range, which is amazing.
Wow.
It's blown my mind.
100,000 yen, like $1,000?
Like Juman,
Juman. Wow. Yeah,
uh,
100,000 yen,
Juman,
right?
Nijuman, Sanjuman.
Sugoi.
Yeah.
And so this is probably a kind of a joke-ish that Ali might ask, but how much of yourself are you willing to sell to get donations? Because I've
Yeah.
seen that you're offering like English classes, you're gonna
Yeah.
cook
Yeah.
them private dinner.
Mhm.
What can you offer as rewards to get people to donate big amounts, eh?
So since I've been on the TV for so long, cooking and doing kind of talent stuff, I've kind of hoped that somebody would want a private cooking lesson, or somebody would want a private English lesson, or things like that. We are offering a one night stay in that studio apartment when we get it set up. We are offering things like have your own private party at the barbecue facility for up to 20 people. A couple of people have taken that option. If you are not in Japan, if you're overseas and would like to contribute, you could use PayPal just to my email at bobbyjudo@gmail.com. And even if you're overseas, if you give anything over $5, that will cover the costs of sending you one of these stickers. Which, oh wow,
I saw that
really
you are also
looks
on
like
Buy
me.
Me a Coffee. Could people donate through the Buy Me a Coffee page, Bobby Judo?
Yes, yeah. People could donate at buymeacoffee.com/Bobby Judo. You would be some of the first.
And then wouldn't that be fun? Like if people are abroad and they donate, but they come to Japan to be able
Yeah.
to donate and then come and visit and see
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
That would be so
It,
cool.
and visit and stay and help out in the community, and it really is.
And climb a waterfall, right?
Yeah, yeah. You come. It's great in any season, but really the summer there is just. It's hard to describe if you haven't seen Japan's mountains and rivers in all their green splendor. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous place. We would love to welcome anybody to come through.
That's awesome. And I saw Recently you were doing a camping activity with your family and your daughters brought in a cat. Is
this
this in the
so
same area? That's hilarious.
this is in Kyushu as well. It was in a different spot, but we're big campers. So a lot of the wanting to do outdoor cooking, a barbecue business, is because we spend so much time outdoor cooking already. But we stayed. I have twin daughters who are 6, and one of the reasons they're looking forward to this move is because it'll enable us to get pets. They're crazy about animals. They love animals, and we went camping. And it was the first night of a couple of days of camping, and we woke up at like 5:30 in the morning, and this jet black stray cat who lives in the campground had come into the tent
So
for warmth
cute.
and
Yeah.
fallen asleep under the table. And so my girls get up early, and they get up and they went out to use the bathroom and things like that. And then I start to hear sounds of playing and meowing. And I walk out to see what's going on. And this is the most patient, kindest, gentlest stray cat I've ever seen in my life. It was a young male cat, but it acted like it was a teddy bear. It let them put it in a basket, let them swing it around. All the things that kids do to cats because they like it, but that the cat definitely is not enjoying.
Oh, that was so
Yeah.
funny. And your girls are so excited. So
Yeah.
if you guys move from Fukuoka where you are now and you're
Mhm.
gonna move out to
Yeah.
live full time, eh? In Saga?
It's about a 30-minute drive from where we live now. So we're gonna move full time. I'll keep doing the TV work in Fukuoka and Saga for the first stretch, and they'll start school out there, which is a rural Japanese school. I think there's something like 20 25 kids in each class, in each grade. Not in
That's
each
awesome.
class, in each grade. So like the entire elementary school, all of the first graders, there's 25
And
first
this
graders.
this is another way that you're helping this rural area
Mm,
by helping by getting your kids in the local
yeah,
schools, keeping that school alive
yeah.
because you're moving out there. I've heard this story from so many families who move out to the rural area, and it really helps to keep the community alive, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I think we're hoping that it kind of provides an example for other people in the area, that there really is value in living in these kinds of places, in a lot of different ways. And so far, the people who live there already have been so welcoming. I'm going to put up a video soon on the crowdfunding page, but we went out to do a tasting where like that local Mura Okoshi organization came out, and they let us do it in the parking lot of the onsen, and the onsen staff came out, and a bunch of the local people came through and tried the stuff that I was cooking. And not only did they try the food and enjoy it and were happy to have us there, but it started to rain halfway through, and it got really cold. And out of nowhere, everyone from the town came together, and they'd thrown up tarps and they'd thrown up tents, and somebody had brought out a fire pit and built a fire, and someone went and got hot drinks for everybody. And it was all this stuff that we'd come in from outside and thrown together this half-assed plan to kind of say taste our stuff, and it turned into a community day. And that happening was just such such a positive feeling and such a positive reinforcement, kind of like this reassurance that we'd really kind of picked the right place. We really found a good spot.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. One of your videos when you went to Miyakojima and
Mhm.
you had that big cookout for miso pork, I think, with the
Yes.
local
Yeah.
people,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But he runs a guest house, and one of the beautiful things he said in the video is, once you come in the gate, you
Yeah.
are my family.
Yeah.
And I could imagine you guys doing that in Saga as
Yeah.
well, right?
Well, we hear a lot of that when we go out to local areas to film these spots where local places do homestay. And there was one actually out in Nagasaki. There's an island called Ojikajima, which is another one of Nagasaki's Goto, the five like kind of islands that are a little bit out. But there was a study abroad project where they took a group of students from America to all different countries in one kind of long trip. And they asked them to rate which one was the best in terms of hospitality. And this little island out in Ojikajima was by and far consistently throughout a handful of years ranked the top. And so we did
Wow.
a segment to go out there and see what they were doing and why they were ranked so well and why all these middle school high school age kids who were going there every year found them the best. And we went and said, so what are you doing that makes these kids love you so much? Like why do you consistently rank in the top? And they went, we don't do anything, we do nothing. They get here and they're we've got kids, they're one of our kids, they walk in and they're part of the family, and tell them these are the rules, you break the rules, you're in trouble, but other than that, hang out and do what you want. And it was this idea of Japanese omotenashi that has been kind of bastardized by the media and turned into this huge celebrated thing of look at our customer service, look at our hospitality, when really the traditional Japanese hospitality is not necessarily elevating a guest from outside as much as it is welcoming a guest
Yeah.
into your home and making them not feel like they're a guest.
And
And
isn't that a beautiful thing about
mm,
being in Kyushu?
mm,
How personal it is. And I think we're in Hiroshima, and we often meet travelers who've been in Japan for 2 weeks before they come here. And they often tell me they feel really lonely. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
very clean. Japanese people are very polite. Everything's high quality, but I don't have a chance to talk to anybody who
yeah,
lives
yeah.
anywhere. And then when they come to places like where you're going to set up in Saga,
Mhm.
you're going to be included like a local. And I think that's what visitors are seeking, right?
I think that's the trend in tourism, especially among repeat visitors, is to not only go and see the sights and eat the food, but to see how locals live and to feel like, I mean, it's what everybody wants when they come to Japan, is you want to feel like you saw the real Japan.
Yeah,
And
for
and
sure.
that's something that you can do when you get out into the countryside.
And just have a chance to engage with real people doing
Yeah.
normal stuff, not just be treated like a customer 24/7, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's such a difference when you go around in the city with a camera and a microphone and you interview people on the street, and there's this sense of hustle and bustle, and a lot of people refuse to talk to you because they're in the middle of stuff. But also when you find somebody, there's this sense that they're like, oh, I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to present myself because I'm on TV now. And then you take that same camera out into the countryside and you find an old woman sitting on the side of the road and you go, hi, what are you doing? And she goes, waiting to die. And it's just it's just people at their natural selves, and they don't feel the need to put on airs or represent themselves as something that they're not. It's just
Yeah.
really nice.
You had that great interchange with a guy just outside Hiroshima City as you're cycling along the riverside, and you saw
Yeah,
he's growing all this Hiroshima na, like
yeah,
this
yeah,
local Hiroshima vegetable. And
yeah,
he was great, wasn't he?
yeah,
Talking
yeah,
about he's 80 years old and he's still out there. And his ability to differentiate between good ones and bad ones when they all
yeah,
look identical, that
yeah.
was such
He
a
had
fun conversation.
he had this huge field of just one kind of a vegetable, one kind of leaf vegetable, and it's looking at this huge field where everything looks the same. And he would point to one, and he goes, "That one's not mine. The neighbor farmer's seed got mixed in somehow." How would you
I
know that?
know, and it looks
Yeah,
identical to us, right?
yeah,
Like he's been doing it for 60 years or something, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
love those
it's just
stories.
a different experience, and I think people who've been to Japan once or twice, they get to Tokyo, they get to Osaka, they get to Kyoto, and then they start to go, okay, I've seen it, but I don't feel like I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just get back to the crowdfunding a little bit.
Mhm.
How has it been? Like, it's really difficult to do crowdfunding, and
Yeah.
your target is high. It's 9 million
Yeah, yeah.
yen, right? But
Six.
oh, 6 million. Okay, good. It sounds better already.
It's
Um,
not 6 million. It's 600. Wait, it's Roku man. Oh yeah, okay, that is 6 million. Yeah. So it's
okay, good.
about in dollars, it would be about $60,000.
But it includes
Yeah.
a lot, right? It
Yeah.
includes a lot of renovation, basically starting a business. Do you
Mhm.
have to get like a culinary certificate to be able to cook for people and stuff like that?
I have one.
You do.
I've had one for years now. Because through TV cooking and things like that, a lot of times you'll do events where the TV station will have a festival and you'll set up a booth and actually cook something. So in order to be able to do that, I had to get all of the hygienic certification and the food handling certification. So that's all in the bag. Um, and the crowdfunding that we're doing is it's not all or nothing; it's all in. So we've set a high goal, but we will do the project no matter what amount. I mean, even if people only gave, even if we only picked up $30, um, which when we launched on the first day, I became very afraid that that's what we were going to get. Uh, even if that this is something that we're going to do. The reason that the goal is set so high is because, as you said, there is so much to do because this is in an environment that's riverside, and because of the way climate change has affected Japan, it's not in an area that's ever been in any danger of flooding. But it does require maintenance that the riverbank walls, the very high riverbank walls, are properly maintained so that they don't crumble during heavy rains. And crumbling would not only affect the river and the local environment, but it would actually affect the ground that our house and that the restaurant will sit on. So there's about $10,000 of work that needs to be done to make sure that the riverbank there is sturdy. Um, then we're setting up an online site, an EC site, to be able to sell our products online. We're going to be putting in an industrial kitchen. We're going to be building out that deck. And because we're doing an American style barbecue, we're kind of committed to having American style grill facilities, um, which are expensive to come by in Japan. And then they're kind of set as stretch goals, but the money will be going into setting up that studio apartment where somebody can come and stay, and setting up a parking lot, setting up some play stuff for kids, some playground equipment, potentially building a tree house. There's all of these things that we have the space to do and that we'd like to do. And there are our goals for living there over the next 20, 30 years. So whatever money comes through in crowdfunding, even if we don't get our full goal, we're still going to do it. But the amount that we collect determines the scale and the quality of what we'll be able to do. So it's kind of the difference between, are we going to have 4 barbecue stations or 8? It's going to be the difference between, are we going to have a slide or can we build a treehouse? It'll be the difference between, are we going to hire a carpenter or am I going to throw some boards together?
Well, I mean, the good thing is that your community is behind you, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And you're kind of already known and connected there. And I think
Yeah.
that in addition to people that are finding out about you and from the outside,
Mm,
having a local support network, that's
yeah.
massive. That's a big support.
They really are, and some of the larger donations that we've received so far have been from the community itself, and
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
being that welcomed and that supported when we're not even there yet is just so incredibly, incredibly humbling.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you get your goal.
Yeah.
When is your deadline? When are you doing it till?
We've got another 33 days, so it'll be December 15th ish.
So,
Yeah.
best Christmas present ever,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
kind of disappointing?
No, I mean, we're already at a place, and this I think is one of the psychological factors that maybe we should have considered more carefully when we launched the crowdfunding is that idea that we're going to do it whether or not people donate money kind of discourages donating money.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
The psychology of it, that
yeah,
you're
yeah,
not dependent on donations.
yeah. And there's an interesting thing at play there where I don't really want to like go online and say I can't do this on my own. I need everybody's help, or I won't be able to pull it off because I have a pride issue there. But at the same time, I don't know. I think setting the goal so high at a place where we're probably not going to hit the total amount is not as effective as setting the goal at say 200,000 or $20,000, because where we're at now, people will look and say, oh, they only need a little bit more. They only need a little bit more. If I contribute,
Right.
they'll hit it. They'll hit it. So there's the
Yeah.
psychological factor, but also we just kind of really hope that anybody who sees the project and likes the project and goes, oh, I'd like to help out. I'd like to maybe go there someday. I'd like to see what the barbecue is like. Anybody who wants to give anything at all just to support is incredibly, incredibly appreciated and encouraged to do so.
I think it's a cool branding tool, right?
Mm.
Because you're getting people invested in your idea. They're reading more about it before
Yeah,
they give put some skin in the game, right?
yeah,
They
yeah,
give
yeah,
some money, and then they have a sense of pride about it. Like, oh, I donated to that. Oh,
yeah,
isn't, I'm kind of excited about that project because I gave
yeah.
some money, right?
Well, there are even options where, I mean, if you give certain amounts to literally be a part of the shop, there's a kind of like a lifetime supporter amount where you can get your name and face on the wall if you want. There's Ichiman amount where you can kind of put up your own business's advertising or get a message from our business to use in your advertising. So we really are trying to encourage those connections and to build a place that everybody feels like they can come to and make use of in a way that helps that community.
That's awesome. Are you
Yeah.
reaching out to your Talento friends, your YouTuber buddies, and getting them to use their name recognition to help support you at all?
Here and there. You kindly have invited me on your show. Uh,
Oh,
but I
I'm
also,
minor.
yeah.
How about Hiko Simon or
I haven't talked to Hiko Simon in a while directly. But I could definitely hit him up. One of the things is if it's hard to do is if you haven't talked to somebody in a while,
yeah.
is to start a new conversation with them when you're asking for something.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
actually this is it'll give you a window into my crowdfunding strategy and process. But because I've been on TV for so long, I had thousands of backlogs of Facebook friend requests from people I've never met.
Ooh.
And so in the months leading up to launching the crowdfunding, I added a whole bunch of people. That's just-
That's a good
like accept,
strategy
accept,
though.
accept. And
Yeah.
it wasn't that I'd never wanted to add them before. It was just that there were literally thousands from people that I don't know at all. Um, so I'm willing to take their donations though.
Yeah, well, I would suggest Alicia Iverson on her
Oh yeah, yeah,
creative.
yeah,
She would interview you about doing a creative project.
yeah,
There's also a Minka community online on
yeah, yeah,
Facebook,
yeah,
and they'd be happy to know more about the renovation part of it, and then get
yeah,
some people interested. So
yeah,
there's definitely a lot of connections about the stuff that you're doing that
yeah.
should get people excited from different areas, different groups.
Yeah, it'd be great to build some more connections there as well.
And of course, all your boat buddies from Japan by River
Yes,
Cruise,
yeah.
right?
We've got a handful of donations from River Cruise passengers as well. Casey Bean from the
Nice.
Bean Pod picked up a sticker, and Brian in Fukuoka, of course, always supports everything.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
But does this mean that you're never going to have that boat, the Japan
Well,
by River Cruise boat?
the thing is, the new business is on a river,
Oh, yeah,
so
that's
I,
true.
I would I would argue that it increases the likelihood.
That's awesome. Well, I
Yeah.
think we should end it there, but thank you so much, Bobby, for joining and
Oh,
talking
thank
about
you.
this great new project.
Yeah.
Good luck with everything. I think it's really
Thank you.
exciting. Yeah.
And JJ, sincerely, thank you for your support in this and in other ways as well. I'll look forward to sending you a package.
Look forward to it. Can't wait. Thank you so much. And everybody, I don't know if people are actually watching this or not, or if we'll upload it later, but
Mhm.
definitely check out the Campfire crowdfunding. And even if you're outside of Japan, definitely get in touch with Bobby and see if you
Yes,
can
please.
have a donation, and then come and visit Japan and visit this awesome
Yes.
place.
We will have a place out in the countryside for you to crash and some good food. So
Sounds
definitely.
good. Thank you so much, everybody.